Hi everybody. Today we will study about the multiple representations of proportions. Look at these two characters. They are do you remember them? Probably not. Your parents probably know them. They are the Wonder Twins. And you know what makes them a hero? What makes them heroes? It's because they could transform from one form to another. They could be an animal first and then suddenly they'll become a table. Animate to inanimate objects. So multiple representation. But at the end, they go back. They're the same Wonder Twins, right? Same thing. Now, look at this, the different faces of Michael Jackson. Now, Michael Jackson evolved into different faces depending on the movie, depending on the music video, depending on what he wants to project. But at the end, okay, so the complexion may change, they may look different, the hairstyle may change, the attire may change, but at the end, they are all one the same thing. It is still Michael Jackson, right? All right, now a proportion has different looks as well. It could disguise itself into different forms. So therefore, be keen in looking at situations or numbers or drawings and see if it shows a proportion. Number one example is a story. Check this out. Dad's coffee consists of 1 spoon of sugar and 3 spoons of milk. Suddenly he wants to make more coffee. When he made coffee for the whole family, he used 5 spoons of sugar and 15 spoons of milk. If you look at that story, it's just like words with numbers. But if you look at the numbers should represent something. 1 spoon of sugar and 3 spoons of milk. That's the first ratio. Compare it to the second ratio as 5. Let's get a better highlighter here. 5 spoons of sugar and 15 spoons of milk. Does that 1 relate to the 5? That 3 relate to the 15? Does it still show proportion? Yes, it does, right? Now, a proportion could also look like two equal ratios. You've studied that in the past. It's like a fraction equal another fraction. Now, if you look at this, 1 over 3 is equal to 5 over 15. Correct, because 1 times 5 is 15. 3 times 5 is also 15. There's another way to check if they're correct. Do cross products. 15 times 1 is 15. Okay. 3 times 5 is also 15. Okay, those cross products should be equal. If they're not equal, it is not a proportion. Next, a proportion can also disguise itself as horizontal ratios which are equal to each other. It will have the colon sign. This is the colon sign. This one and that one. Now remember, for a proportion that looks like this, the middle numbers are called the mean and the outer numbers are called the extremes. Remember, means, extremes. Means, extremes. Check this out. If you multiply the means, you will get a 15. Yes. If you multiply the extremes, 1 times 15, you also get 15. So remember, the means is equal to extremes. It is a proportion again. Yes. Now, a proportion could also disguise itself as a function table. It is a table because, check this out, it grows up by 1, but this grows up by 3. 1 plus 1 becomes a 2, and then plus 1 again, my bad, plus 1 again, that becomes a 3. Okay, it's hard to write with a mouse. Now here, it goes up by 3 plus 3 for the spoons of milk, okay? And then 6 plus 3 goes up by 3 again. So if you continue doing the plus 1 on the left and plus 3 on the right, you will get, when you reach 5 spoons of sugar, you will need what? Yes, 15 spoons of milk. So it is still a proportion. Now, a proportion could also disguise as an equation. Check this out. Y equals 3x. Y represents the spoons of milk. X represents the spoons of sugar. Remember what we saw a while ago? It goes up by 3. Therefore, this number is called the constant. All right? Whatever is your sugar, spoons of sugar, just multiply it by 3, you will get your spoons of milk. Okay, remember that. And lastly, a proportion could be a graph. Simply graph the value, the x value for sugar and the y value for milk. X value for sugar, y value for milk, x sugar, y milk. If you continuously plot the points and connect the points, what have you observed? Is it a straight line? Yes. So remember, number 1, straight line. Number 2, does it touch the origin? Yes, it touches the origin. So if those two conditions are met, it is a graph of a proportion. Okay. Next, let's have some practice. Okay, an empty swimming pool is filled with a rate of 10 gallons per minute. How much water is in the pool after 6 minutes? We will represent this using the 6 different ways to disguise a proportion. Are you ready? Okay, let's start. So the first representation is two equal ratios. Let's try this now. So we learned that the swimming pool is filled with 10 gallons of water for every 1 minute. Okay, that's the unit rate. Remember unit rate? If it has a value of 1 below, that's a unit rate. And then make another equal ratio on the other side. I don't know the number of gallons, but I know I need to fill it up for 6 minutes. Okay, so X on top, 6 minutes below. Take note, the units are important. If the gallons is on top, okay, be sure on the other side, the gallons is also on top. Check this out. Gallons on top here, it's also gallons. Minutes below here, okay, therefore minutes below as well. Now look for the pattern. 1 became 6, right? So you see a pattern of times 6. Therefore, on top, to get the value of x, whatever you do below, you do the same thing on top, times 6. Therefore, 10 times 6 is 10 times 6 is 60. So you can say after 6 minutes, the pool is filled with 60 gallons of water. Next, horizontal ratios. Remember, a column followed by another column. Okay, so 10 is to 1. We know that is equal to x is to 6. Remember, this is the gallons to minutes. So how do we solve that? The means, we talk about the means. We talk about the extremes. So multiply the means. Remember, the product means to multiply. The product of the means, 1 times x, is equal to the product of the extremes, the one on the left and right. So 10 times 6. So solve that. You get x is equal to 60, therefore 60 gallons. Now let's write a function table. Let's start by x with minutes and y with gallons. So write down 1 minute, 10 gallons, 2 minutes, 20 gallons, and what have you observed? We are simply adding 1, okay, plus 1 on the minutes. But on the gallons, we're adding how many? 10. Okay? You could do continuous addition or simply multiplication at the end. Okay, plus 1 again, plus 10. Plus 1 for you, plus 10 for you. Until we reach what? 6 minutes, which gives us an answer of 60. Therefore, the answer is 60 gallons. There you go. Now, equation y is equal to something x. Y is the result. Remember, that's the number of gallons. X is the minutes. And what do you remember? For every minute, you need 10 gallons. Okay. So 10 is also called the constant or the unit rate. Okay, because it is the number of gallons for every minute. Now, as a graph, simply plot the points. In 1 minute, we know it fills up 10 gallons. 2 minutes, 20 gallons. 3 minutes, 30. 4 minutes, 40. 5 minutes, 50. And therefore, 6 minutes, 60 gallons of water. And what have you observed? What? Number one, it forms a straight line if you connect the points, right? What else? Number two, it will touch the origin. If you extend that line, it will touch the origin. Remember those two conditions? Straight line, touch the origin. It is a proportion. Now let's have some coach example. A movie theater charges $16 for 2 tickets and $32 for 4 tickets. How much would it cost for 12 tickets? Now, I wanted you to show multiple representation of this as a proportion. Okay, you can solve for the problem or just use whatever data or numbers are given to you. You will show it as two equal ratios. You will show the horizontal ratios. You will show a function table, x and y, and you will show an equation y equals something x, and then also a graph, prove that it is a proportion. Once you've done it, show it to your teacher. Good luck. And now for your homework, okay? Show 5 representations of this one. If there are 6 iPads for every 24 students, how many iPads will be needed for 120 students? Again, you will work on your own, show two equal ratios, horizontal ratios, function table, equation, and then a graph. Prove that it is a proportion. Once you're done, show it to your teacher. Good luck.